Less than 2 minutes now until the start of the deorbit burn. Just over a minute now until the start of the deorbit burn. Everything in good shape aboard the Soyuz MS-25. Standing by for the start of the ignition. Again, a 4-minute, 39-second retrograde firing of the Soyuz engines.
A minute until activation. We have gas, so have combined gas. We have the ascending J3. Let's open.
The engine cover is open on the Soyuz, 30 seconds away from the start of the deorbit burn.
Okay, I'm executing a maneuver. Selected. "20 seconds to the activation of Vasilevskaya. Copy. "14:05:45. We confirm Vasilevskaya activation. Pressure at nozzles 13.6.
And we have confirmation of the start of the deorbit burn on time.
0.46. Copy. Everything is nominal.
The deorbit burn began at 6:05 and 46 seconds a.m. Central Time. Will last 4 minutes and 39 seconds.
(13.2) 30 seconds. 0.45 acceleration. Copy.
Изменяется, нормально все.
So far, so good. The burn continues as planned. Good deceleration reported.
Burn 27:29. 0.45 acceleration. Parameters are nominal. Copy. One minute 30 seconds. 40:47 is acceleration.
All good numbers being reported by the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov. Countdown clocks ticking backward now toward the expected landing of the Soyuz in Kazakhstan a little over 51.5 minutes from now.
Two minutes 54:28. Acceleration 0.46. Copy.
Approaching the midway point of the deorbit burn. So far, so good.
(127 kilograms is the propellant used over 2 minutes. Copy. Propellant consumption over 2 minutes. 2:30, 67, 68 KDO.
And as the deorbit burn continues, the report is that the helicopters have departed Dzhezkazgan en route to the landing site. And again, this is all choreographed precisely to enable the helicopters to arrive at the landing site and circle the landing zone at the time that the Soyuz will be visible under its main parachute.
3 minutes, 81:53, 0.46, acceleration 191 kilogram is the prop consumption. Copy.
Да, принято.
Inaudible. Copy.
Three-quarters of the way through the deorbit burn, everything is reported to be proceeding in perfect fashion.
7 parameters are nominal. Acceleration 047. Consumption is 223 kilograms. Copy.
Четыре.
4 minutes. 109. 26.
More than 4 minutes into the burn, about 30 seconds remaining in the deorbit burn.
4:10.
410. 115.3.
Принято.
Copy.
4:20.
420. 118.36. Acceleration 047.
4:30. 124.
430. 286 is consumption. Cadeau parameters. We have GK. We have thermosensor deactivation.
And we have confirmation that the deorbit burn is complete. It was a perfect burn. Tracy Dyson, Oleg Kononenko, and Nikolai Chub headed back to Earth. And telemetry received at the Russian Mission Control Center has confirmed a good module separation. The next step in about 3 minutes will be the Soyuz entering the first traces of Earth's atmosphere and the first sensation of gravity to be felt by Kononenko and Chub in over a year and just over 6 months for Tracy Dyson. Just under 25 minutes until landing. At the landing site to the southeast of the town of Dzhezkazgan on the steppe of Kazakhstan, the winds are a little bit on the frisky side, but the visibility is good. Just some scattered clouds at 8,000 feet and 25,000 feet. Temperatures 73 degrees. This is Mission Control Houston. The Soyuz and its 3 occupants have entered the Earth's atmosphere, barreling toward their landing site on the steppe of Kazakhstan. They should be entering into the plasma regime just a few seconds from now, with landing scheduled just over 22 minutes from now. The Soyuz has entered into the plasma regime with controlled entry guidance for the spacecraft. This should be about 5 minutes where we would expect no communications, a blackout period in essence, followed by a maximum loading of about 4 to 5 Gs on the 3 crew members and the descent module, Dyson, Kononenko, and Chub. Just under 20 minutes until touchdown for the Soyuz MS-25. And about 2 minutes until the spacecraft will be exiting that plasma regime. Two more minutes in the plasma regime and our expected communications blackout. About 1 more minute left in the plasma regime, 17.5 minutes until touchdown. We are standing by for confirmation that the spacecraft has emerged from the plasma regime.
Unintelligible. Last 5 seconds is offset and SR pressure. 765, copy. Integral last 14, copy. You are on the third 363 was the maximum G load. How are you feeling, guys? We're feeling good. So the integral plus 13, and we are following the curve. Copy.
And that report through the interpreter is that of Soyuz Commander Oleg Kononenko. The crew is in good shape, having emerged from the plasma regime.
You're good.
Next up will be the deployment of the parachutes. The Soyuz is right on the mark.
So point two,
good trajectory heading for the landing site.
Copy. And the integral 13. Yes, that's correct. Minus 0.2.
We're standing by for confirmation of the parachute deploy. There are 2 pilot parachutes first deployed, the second of which extracts the drogue chute. That drogue chute is then released, measuring 24 square meters, slowing the Soyuz down from a descent rate of 230 meters per second to just 80 meters per second. Then the main parachute will be released, covering an area of 1,000 meters. It slows the Soyuz to a descent rate of 7.2 meters per second. The harnesses on the chute first allow the Soyuz to descend at a purposeful angle of 30 degrees to expel heat, then we'll shift the Soyuz to a straight vertical descent. The next time we hear from the crew, it should be through the Antonov 26 fixed-wing aircraft, which is at the landing site, airborne. Will be operating as a command and relay station, if you will, for voice and data from the Soyuz back to the Russian control center. And via Roscosmos television, you can see the Soyuz descending under its main parachute. That white vapor that you see venting is normal. That white vapor is a combination of hydrogen peroxide and oxygen venting into the air. This is deliberate to safe the vehicle for landing so that no hazardous gases remain in the tanks when the soft landing engines fire about 2 seconds before the vehicle touches down. Once again, a good view, a clear sky over the landing site on the south-central steppe of Kazakhstan. Touchdown expected 12 minutes from now.
Antares 61, go ahead. Antares, we can see you under the parachute. Is the offset 5 kilometers 5 seconds, and we are good. We are feeling good. Copy, Antares. The pressure in the landing area is 731. Copy. 731.
There is the jettisoning of the heat shield right on time. This exposes the altimeter that feeds information into the Soyuz computers about how high up the Soyuz is as it descends under its parachute. Landing schedule just under 10.5 minutes from now. It also exposed the soft landing engines, which will fire about 2 seconds before touchdown in a final braking maneuver. Less than 10 minutes until touchdown, everything looking very good. And the sound you hear is a radio beacon signal that is being received from the Soyuz. Basically another form of communications capability to enable the search and recovery forces to precisely pinpoint where the Soyuz is descending to for its touchdown point, with landing now scheduled 9 minutes from now. The crew reporting they feel healthy.
Unintelligible.
Less than 8 minutes until touchdown. The Soyuz continues a perfect descent under a cloudless sky on the steppe of Kazakhstan, some 91 miles to the southeast of the town of Dzhezkazgan.
ретвив. Выполнять шаг 9. Пункт 33. Еще раз, что там нужно? Ну вот у меня пункт 33. Да, это не можно, да, отключать трансляцию, потому что уже специальный аппарат на парашюте.
Coming up 6.5 minutes until touchdown. Very stable Soyuz vehicle under its main parachute. The Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces are in the area. They are circling around the vicinity of the landing zone. Before long, within the next couple of minutes or so, you'll be able to see helicopters in the field of view in close proximity, but not very close to the Soyuz spacecraft, as they keep tabs on its descent for its touchdown. That's expected at 6:59 a.m. Central Time, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Time. Now 5 minutes until touchdown. All of the events to this point have been conducted in flawless fashion. The closing of the hatch, the undocking of the Soyuz from the Prashal module, and the deorbit burn a short time ago, enabling the Soyuz to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere as planned, heading for its landing site on the south-central steppe of Kazakhstan.
2.
Antares search and rescue team.
Барометрическая высота 1880.
1880. Unintelligible.
The search and recovery forces now have established voice contact with the Soyuz.
We can see, somebody is following us above us.
Three and a half minutes until touchdown. A nice, steady entry by the Soyuz vehicle, continuing to descend back to Earth to wrap up more than a year in space for Oleg Kononenko and Nikolai Chub, and 184 days in space for Tracy Dyson. Just 2 minutes until touchdown. The search and recovery forces, the Russian Mi-8 helicopters.
We are crossing 1,000-meter mark.
And you can hear that from Oleg Kononenko through the interpreter. Less than 1,000 meters until touchdown.
800.
All of the search and recovery force helicopters are in position, circling the landing zone, waiting for the touchdown, at which point they will begin to land in sequential fashion so that the safing of the vehicle and the extraction of the crew can get underway.
Наблюдаешь меня справа на 2.
608, are you observing me to the right at 2 o'clock?
Less than a minute until touchdown.
This is 451, 300 meters.
300 meters off the deck. At this point, the 3 crew members will be bracing for touchdown.
Unintelligible.
Touchdown. Right on the money. A textbook touchdown on the steppe of Kazakhstan at 6:59 a.m. Central Time, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:59 p.m. at the landing site in Kazakhstan. Tracy Dyson is home after 184 days in space. Oleg Kononenko and Nikolai Chub are home after 374 days in space, a record for an International Space Station mission. With the on-time touchdown by the Soyuz MS-25 and the 3 crew members back on Earth, the Rosaviatsa Search and Recovery Forces, the Russian Mi-8 helicopters, they will begin to land in sequential fashion to make their way to the spacecraft to begin the process of extracting the crew. You can see in this view on the horizon there are ground-based vehicles that are making their way towards the spacecraft, as well as the first in a series of Russian Mi-8 helicopters that will be landing. These are the initial recovery personnel from RSC Energia to begin the process of ensuring that the vehicle is safe and no toxic gases escaping, and then we'll begin the process of opening up the hatch to extract the 3 crew members who will be placed in chairs near the spacecraft to allow them a few minutes to get their land legs back before they're carried in those chairs to a nearby inflatable medical tent where they will get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits into more comfortable clothing and be taken to 3 separate helicopters for the 2-hour helicopter flight back to the staging city of Karaganda. This view from this all-terrain vehicle will be interrupted while this vehicle makes its way to the spacecraft, at which point we should, if all things are proceeding normally, receive video by the spacecraft of the extraction of the crew and the other activities. Once again, the Soyuz MS-25 made a bullseye landing right on time at 6:59 a.m. Central Time, 7:59 a.m. Eastern Time, 4:59 p.m. at the landing site, 91 miles to the southeast of the remote town of Dzhezkazgan, Kazakhstan, as planned. Tracy Dyson completing 184 days in space, 2,944 orbits of the Earth, and a mission of 78 million statute miles. Oleg Kononenko and Nikolai Chub wrapped up 374 days in space, 5,984 orbits, 158.6 million statute miles. Oleg Kononenko, with today's landing, has logged 1,111 days in space on his 5 flights, an all-time record. And we've just received report that the Soyuz stuck the landing. It landed upright. So the crew will be extracted out of the top hatch of the Soyuz once a ladder is erected by the recovery personnel along the side of the vehicle.
Started to touch down around it, and then we were the very last helicopter on the ground, and that only took about 5 minutes after landing, so definitely very quick. Open here, we can see the first Soyuz crew member coming out the capsule.
And the first crew member, likely Oleg Kononenko, the Soyuz commander, being helped out of the center seat. And there he is. 374 days in space on this flight, waving to the crowd. 1,111 days in space on his 5 space flights.
Please be careful. Slow.
He's now coming down the slide, and then he'll be moved into his chair over right in front of the capsule, where he'll be checked out by some of his Roscosmos medical personnel and others. And then it looks like they're already working to get the next crew member out.
Move him up.
Be extracted out of the top of the Soyuz MS-25.
And looks like our next crew member is coming out. Should be Tracy Dyson.
Here comes Tracy.
And there's NASA astronaut Tracy Dyson making her way out. She's turning around, and then she'll go down the slide. All smiles on her face currently as she's being helped out. And now Tracy Dyson is being helped over to her chair. She'll get those initial medical checks before they move into the orange medical tent about 50 yards away from here.
Dyson wrapping up 184 days in space, 373 days on her third space flight.
That's it, thank you.
Wing room. And there's Nikolai Chub, wrapping up the first flight in his career. A record-setting 374 days aboard the International Space Station, the longest flight along with Kononenko for a single flight on the orbital outpost. 1 year ago, Sergei Prokopiev, Dmitry Petelin, and NASA's Frank Rubio wrapped up 371 days in space. Kononenko and Chub eclipsed that mark last Friday.